Ryan Jarrell here for MMA News, and I'm excited to have my next guest on the show. It's the Kraken, Juan Adams, who will be making his BKFC debut January the 27th at BKFC Prospect Series 3 when he faces Matt Adams. Juan, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Super excited. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. And we were talking before we started this interview just about, it's being the new year. So I just want to start there, man. What are your goals here for 2024?
My goals are, to get probably at least three MMA fights in, and then do as much bare knuckle as they'll have me.
So did you sign a multi-fight deal with BKFC?
No, no. So the way these ones work, I think it's under their prospect series, and it's really just one on, one off, like whatever. And then when they want to do a multi-fight deal after they've seen you a few times, they'll usually get signed if you perform well. They said they plan on keeping me pretty busy, and I'm super excited to do it.
What attracted you to this aspect of combat sports?
Honestly, my time away from MMA, I just kind of got tired of the waiting. Opponents saying they wanted to fighting me, then their coaches saying that they don't want to fight and stuff like that. Man, I love combat. Like I compete to fight. I don't compete. Obviously, my intention is to win every fight, but I find that in this sport, there's people that love winning and not necessarily love fighting. What I've come to realize is like I love competition, man. I see competition as a way to gauge and meter myself and the work that I've done, and I fight because it's something that I love to do. I believe it's one of the most human things you can do, and I want to be, optimal in terms of my own humanity. I want to be as optimal of a person and as a human as I can be, and that's why I test myself through fighting. So I love fighting. Winning is nice, but fighting is it's like where I just feel the most alive.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that. I have to imagine though, well, like you said, no one likes to lose. What is it you want to accomplish just in the winner's circle before you move on and don't compete anymore? Is there anything specific that you feel like is attainable and you really are focused on?
Yeah, man. I would like to do at least 25 professional MMA fights. In boxing, obviously I would like to get a good deal with bare knuckle MMA, and then at that point I could say that I've competed at the highest form in three different disciplines of combat. In folk style wrestling, I competed at the Division 1 level. That's the highest level you can go to for that. I had over 100 matches at that level. In MMA, I competed in the UFC. I competed in PFL. I was a champion in a regional organization as well under Fury. So I've I've made it to the top of that, and obviously it didn't turn out how I wanted to. But if I could get back there and get some wins in the UFC, that'd be great. If another major promotion one was sign me and I can get some wins there, that'd be good too. I just want to keep competing at the highest level I can in MMA, and then reach the highest level that I can in boxing or bare knuckle boxing, for that matter. And that's something that's really cool to me. I've done it at the highest level in three different sports.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You mentioned, potentially maybe getting back to the UFC if that opportunity comes. You also fought for PFL as well. What do you feel like they were? I guess let me rephrase that. Where do you feel they are in competition with the UFC? I mean, they just acquired Bellator. Are they closing the gap? Is that a promotion that you'd love to fight for again if the UFC doesn't come to fruition?
Absolutely, man. And my theory on combat sports in general is, you know, the UFC was the one that was there first. It's kind of the cream of the crop in terms of what they think. But PFL, man, you look at their production value, you look at the way they're doing things and the moves they're making and the headlines they're making. It's good too. I think that as MMA becomes more mainstream, there's going to be that gap, so to speak, I feel like is evaporating altogether. So I feel that you go to each promotion for different things. Like in PFL, they don't allow you to throw elbows, right? I mean, a lot of the most exciting knockouts in the UFC are from elbows. So it's different. And I feel that people don't view them as necessarily even the same thing all the time because PFL does, they have their like boxing thing too. They're super entertaining. They've got Jake Paul, I believe, with them as well. So there's so much difference and variety in MMA now. And then you look over at what one's doing, and that's almost like completely different as well. They're doing hybrid events on that. So a UFC Fight Pass with that brand, it's kind of its own thing, its own label now, so to speak. So and the gap I feel is different because I feel like they're all competing in different lanes. They're looking for different. They're marketing towards different crowds.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it's never been a better time to be a fan of combat sports with all the different options and promotions that are thriving now, right?
Exactly, and that's the way I look at it, man. The more big promotions you have out there, the more that people can view all of those different things, the more consumers want that, the better it is for the athletes because now they have an opportunity to make money in different areas. You know, for the longest, like the only way you could make money was doing, freak show fights in some other country where they fly you in and pay you exorbitant amounts of money for dumb fights, or making it to the UFC, making a name out of yourself, and then you go and open up your own gym and have people follow you based off of your credentials from the UFC. That's
Mhm.
not necessarily the case anymore, and it's amazing to see. And you also are seeing more people specializing in different forms of combat sports. There's guys that are in jujitsu, and you're not just sitting there asking like, "Oh, are you ever going to fight now?" No, like there's a whole different world of jujitsu competitions that's accessible, that people consume, that people love to watch. Kickboxing, same way. Muay Thai, there's so it's brought more eyes to different types of combat, and it's giving more fighters from different disciplines opportunities to be successful.
Yeah, very, very well said. I wanted to get your opinion too on the best heavyweight in the world right now. Obviously, John Jones is right there. I mean, a lot of people think he's the greatest of all time. Francis Ngannou, Tom Aspinall. There's so many elite heavyweights in the combat sports world right now. Rank them for me right now. Not all time because you're gonna go with John Jones over either one of them. But right now, who do you think is the best heavyweight on planet Earth?
Well, John is injured right now, so he can't like fight. So I'm gonna disqualify him from that. Obviously, I think he's the greatest martial artist ever. Honestly, I mean, he's just that guy has more talent than most people could ever dream of having. He's super talented. His fight IQ is next level. So I'm not discrediting John in any way. Just saying from in terms of right now because he's injured and cannot fight. I'm gonna go with I it's real close, but I think Aspinall is probably the best. Like just when I watch him fight, I watch him move and do things like that. I think he's edging out everyone else, just barely though, because Ngannou's a better fighter in terms of his knockout power, and he's a gamer. And there's something that's changed in him over the last 3 or 4 years because there were times before where he wouldn't necessarily go for those finishes, or you would see him change based on who he's fighting. Like you look at when he fought Derek Lewis, um, and he lost to Derek Lewis. It seemed he wasn't really pulling the trigger or anything.
Hmm.
But something since then is different. Like he's pulling the trigger every time, so you can't ever count him out of a fight. And then, but then you look Curtis Blades. He beat Tom Aspinall. His grappling and the way he competes is very different than both of them as well. But you can't ever count him out of the fight. So it's super thrilling. But as of right now, I would go like Aspinall one and Ngannou too, and Gano's also getting older, so
Mhm.
like that's where that a lot of that comes from me. Like I don't know how much he's losing. I haven't seen him fight MMA recently, so there's definitely some recency bias in there. But I think Aspinall's number one, and then right underneath them you got guys like Cyril Gahn, who is amazing. Obviously,
Yeah.
Big Boy Jarcino, super good as well. And you got all kind of other heavyweights up and coming that look better and better as time's coming up. You also have what Henan Ferreira, who's like just super
Yeah.
crazy athletic. When you're 6'9" and can do a gainer backflip, like that's impressive. I don't care what anyone says. So there's that.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So many great heavyweights out there right now. Tell me a little bit about who you have around you nowadays. Who are like the main training partners? Who are you getting that working with?
Um, I have my main one right now is probably Dontel Mays. He's super good, super great guy, like great fighter. Davion Franklin, obviously, he's recovering from an injury, but he's one of the top guys in the world as well. And then also Josh Hokin, who fights for Bellator. He's a heavyweight, and I love going with him because he's a wrestler by trade, and so am I. And so we get to just chop it up and wrestle from time to time, and that's fun too. So a lot of good guys. Then on the boxing end, there's Dwight Maters as well. He does MMA. He also does boxing, and then Leo last name starts with a G. I can't pronounce it, but he's a pro boxer. So getting to work with those guys.
You said you're in Cali right now. Is that the gym that you're training out of? Because I knew you used to be in New Mexico mostly.
Yeah, no, I actually am not in Cali for like gym stuff. I came out here because my college roommate's family lives out here, and they do a strength and conditioning program that I love working with those guys. It's good, just kind of a little reset. My last few days off from teaching, so I came out here to just kind of soak up some Cali vibes, run every day, do my morning workouts there, get a little bit of like shadow boxing footwork stuff in. And then when I get back, it's all the pad work. Last few days of sparring, and we'll get it in there. But right now, it's just focusing on weight, focusing on training, focusing on the cardio, getting my body right. Obviously, I like to look good on the camera, so making sure I'm staying a little cut up and everything.
No doubt, and getting that Cali sun, I miss it. I used to live out there for about 5 years, so a lot to do out there. Hopefully, it's not distracting you at all.
Nah, man, not even. I worked out at 6 a.m. today. I'm too tired to be distracted. I'm go knock out some lesson plans and grade some catch up on some grading that I haven't done all break because it was Christmas and I don't want to ruin my mood. So
So you're still a full-time teacher?
yeah, yeah, probably not much longer. We'll see how the next few months go. Um, I do love educating. I do love doing it, but I'm also an international social emotional learning instructor. And if that continues to pick up, I just feel I can reach and teach people in a different way and have a wider reach, maybe probably help more people. I do love education. I do love helping kids, but there's pros and cons of everything. So
Man, there must not be enough hours in the day for you with everything you got going on.
there really are not, where I suffer the most with my sleep. That's super tough. Not a fan of only getting 6 hours of sleep a day, but there's only so many hours in the day, and our choices kind of determine how prosperous we can be.
Yeah, for sure. As you get closer to fight night, will you cut back on everything to prioritize sleep more? Because I know how important that is in anything that you do, especially I would have to imagine with staying sharp mentally for a fight. Well, will you get more sleep as you get closer to fight night?
Yeah, so probably next week, what I'm going to start doing is decreasing the stuff I take home from work which means I'll just utilize my time at work probably a little bit better, utilize my weekends more so, and dedicate my weekends more towards that type of work. And as we get closer, man, it's more about weight management. I'm not going to learn anything in the last 2 weeks going up to a fight. So what we're going to do there is really prioritize, nutrition, rest, cardio, and making sure that, the weight is on point, but also that I'm recovering properly. Everyone gets nicked up, dinged up during their camp. That last 2 weeks is when it's a little bit less strenuous on the body because all you're worried about is making weight, and less strenuous on the body and really just kind of recovering. So I've got everything going mentally, physically, and spiritually when it's fighting.
What's the weight at today?
Today I was 287.
Okay, so you're not too far. You're pretty much where you need to be, right, before weight cut week.
Yeah, yeah. And, weight cut week, I can comfortably cut 25 pounds the week of a fight and be fine. So I'm not super worried about it. I have to make 266 for this one, which won't be difficult. And yeah, so that's it. We're ready to go, firing on all cylinders. Um, really been focusing more so on road work this fight, which I despise. Man, I hate running with a burning passion, but I got to do it.
Get that cardio up, man. January 27th is around the corner. Let's talk about it. BKFC Prospect Series 3. It's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I have to imagine you're going to have a lot of fans there in attendance come fight night. How exciting is that to make this, bare knuckle debut in Albuquerque?
And it's super exciting, and I was so skeptical of doing bare knuckle for the longest because I'm a very pretty man, and I don't like I don't like cuts and stuff on my face, and that's much higher frequency when it comes to bare knuckle boxing. But the goal is to hit, not get hit. So super excited to go out there, super excited to go do it, and just show everyone there that there's opportunities to do stuff there. You just have to put your mind to it, focus on it, and go for it. And the fans play a big part. So many fans really look forward to those nights, those fight nights, and meeting people and interacting. So hopefully, I'll give them a good spectacle.
What do you know about your opponent, Matt Adams? He's 2-1 in MMA. This is his bare knuckle debut as well. Have you had a chance to do a lot of research on him?
We have, and from what I've seen, I trust my coaches on this one. He's shorter. He's 5'10". I know that much about him. I know he's from Ohio. I've seen his fights. Cardio doesn't really seem to be all that great, but technically speaking, I think I've got a lot more fights than him. I've got a lot more experience with him, and across the board, except for boxing, he does have more boxing experience than me, but I've got more wrestling experience, better wrestling experience, more MMA experience, better MMA experience. So, um, obviously, I respect every opponent. I know he's game. I know he's a challenger. I know I could lose. I just don't see it as being very likely.
And obviously, with you being so tall, what are you, 6'5"?
Yeah, between 6'5" and 6'6".
Okay. And him being 5'10", obviously, you're going to have a big reach advantage as well. So he's going to be trying to get on the inside, maybe land a big uppercut. Do you feel like maybe just pumping that jab consistently, keeping him on the outside, might be like the easiest path to a victory here?
It will be the easiest path to victory is just staying on the outside, but I also know like I'm bigger, I'm stronger, and if he wants to get inside, we're allowed to clinch it. I'm allowed to literally hold your head in place and punch it. So he comes inside, that's a different world of pain for him.
Yeah. And it must be nice not having to, train takedown defense and jujitsu and all that for this bare knuckle fight. It must be easier on the body a little bit.
It's much easier on the body. I have so much fewer aches and pains going into this fight than I ever have.
No doubt, man. Tell me your official prediction. How does this fight end?
I think it ends. Uh, I'm gonna guess the second round stoppage, either by me or the doctors won't allow him to continue into the third.
All right, man. Can't wait to see you in there. Again, the Kraken, Juan Adams meets Matt Adams, January the 27th at BKFC Prospect Series 3. Great talking to you again, man. It's been far too long. Hopefully we can do it again soon. Before we do sign off here today, I want to give you the floor. If there's any thing you want to plug, anybody you want to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I would just like to thank all my sponsors. Most importantly, Haymaker Coffee and Grizzly Protection Services. Man, those guys have really come through. Always pay on time, sending me super cool gear, shirts, everything. Um, it's funny. They started off. I met them when I was still like a bouncer, like, over 10 years ago, and seeing them come up, branch out, form a real legit like executive, like from executive security down to just club security company all the way. Just seeing that is amazing. Seeing that growth and seeing us stick together and be able to form a partnership has been super amazing. And then my coaches, man, all my coaches at Jackson Wink, they've been so understanding of my schedule. With teaching, they've moved classes around so that I can get in there as much as I possibly can. Super appreciative of those guys. And then my coworkers, even though they get on my nerves sometimes, and I'm sure I annoy them. They're super understanding, super compassionate, and giving a lot of grace during this time because got to drink a lot of water during this, and they're pretty on point with when I need a break. They come in, let me go pee, and come back to class. So then, of course, my students for being less terrible as I get closer and closer to the fight. I want to thank them for that.